The doctor checked his pulse again, 35,000 feet up in the air. The pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. Emergency landing required! At first he thought it was just stress, another panic attack maybe, the kind successful people push through. But this was different. His heart was racing, sweat pouring down his face. The pain was getting worse. The doctor on board confirmed his worst fear. He was having a heart attack. He was dying. In that moment, everything Eric had worked for flashed before his eyes. The McKinsey career, building Skype's billion-dollar exit, his restaurant chain in London, all the success he'd chased since he was just a kid with a box of chocolate bars and a dream. Now, he might not live to see any of it again. But this isn't where Eric's story ends. It's where his real journey begins. Today, he leads a community of over 1 million people, teaching them what he learned at 35,000 feet, that true success shouldn't cost you everything. Hey everyone, before we get into the incredible story, make sure you hit subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Every Wednesday, I break down how the most successful founders and leaders build their empires. Today's story is different though, because this isn't just about building an empire, it's about what happens when everything you believe about success almost kills you. So long before Eric Partaker became the voice of sustainable success, he was just a kid who understood one thing. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to get it. And at 10 years old, while other kids were asking their parents for toys, Eric was mapping out his territory. Wanted a BMX bike, but instead of asking for it, he grabbed a box of world's finest chocolate bars and hit the streets, door after door, store after store, one bar at a time. That bike, he earned every penny of it. This wasn't just about a bike though. It was his first taste of what focus, determination could achieve. A lesson that would shape his entire approach to success. After graduating from the University of Illinois with a finance degree, Eric landed at McKinsey Co. Think about that trajectory though, from selling chocolate bars outside grocery stores to advising Fortune 50 CEOs. At McKinsey, Eric didn't just learn business strategy, he also learned what most people thought success looked like. The meeting that ran past midnight, the international flights where your laptop never closed, the pride that came with being the last one in the office. Working 100-hour weeks was normal and expected. Missing family dinners wasn't a sacrifice, it was proof of your commitment. This just gives me freaking chills to going back to my world. But this is about Eric. But this is why I left. Being consistently exhausted wasn't just a warning sign to him, it became a badge of honor. Then came Skype. As head of business development from 2005 to 2007, Eric helped architect their multi-billion-dollar exit to eBay. He was living what everyone called the dream, scaling a tech giant, making bold moves, building something that would change how the world communicates. The success story kept building. By 2007, he co-founded Chilango, is that how you say it, Eric? A Mexican restaurant chain that would become one of London's fastest growing food brands. Revenue was climbing, they were expanding across the city. On paper, Eric Partaker was crushing it, as they say in sales, crushing it. But papers don't show the full picture. They don't show the 4 a.m. email storms that keep his mind racing. They don't capture the family moments missing because something urgent came up, the phone blew up, the meeting, right? I have to stay a day longer, I missed the flight. They don't measure the constant anxiety that just maybe could all disappear if it slowed down, just slow down for a second. Eric was running on borrowed time. His body had been sending signals, shortness of breath, racing thoughts that wouldn't quiet down, panic attacks, consistent feeling of being wound too tight. But in Eric's mind, this was just the price of admission, the cost of playing the highest level, what separated the great from the good. Until March 2018, this was the turning point. It started just like any other business trip. Another flight back to London, another chance to catch up on emails, 35,000 feet. The first signs were subtle, a tightness in his chest that felt different from the usual stress, a shortness of breath that wouldn't go. Then came the pain, sharp, insistent, impossible to ignore. The doctor on board checked his vital signs. The verdict was clear, heart attack symptoms, severe enough to require an emergency landing. Quote, this is what he said, quote, I almost died while on a return flight to London from a near heart attack, 35,000 feet in the air. At the time, I was obsessed about peak performance, but I was approaching it in all the wrong ways, and my health paid for it. There's something surreal about having your mortality laid bare miles above the earth, about realizing that all the success you've been chasing might end up right here in seat 32A, somewhere between Chicago and London. In that hospital bed later, surrounded by beeping monitors and a sterile smell, Eric faced the question that would change everything. What if everything I believed about success was wrong? In that hospital room, Eric did something pivotal. He started breaking down the problem. Success wasn't the enemy, his approach to it was. Success leaves clues. He thought about all the CEOs he'd worked with, all the founders he'd advised. They were all chasing the same thing, excellence in their work. But at what cost? A heart attack? That's when his 3-alarm system began taking shape. The book isn't just about setting reminders on your phone, it's 373 pages of everything he learned about about peak performance the hard way. And he gave it away for free because he just doesn't want anyone else to learn those lessons in a hospital bed. The system breaks life into what truly matters: our health, our work, and our relationships. First, the health alarm. Most people think peak performance is about pushing harder. It's actually about building sustainable energy systems. The health alarm teaches you how to add 13 extra weeks to your year through strategic energy management, doubling your natural melatonin production for better sleep, transform stress into physical strength instead of letting it break you down, create recovery routines that power your performance. But it goes deeper than just exercise and diet. It's about becoming your healthiest self, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Next is the wealth alarm. This isn't about making more money. It's about creating lasting success without burning yourself out in the process. Justin Welsh says he created the intentional life, and he doesn't want to change the world. He wants to spend more time with his family. He had something that happened very similar to what Eric went through, a panic attack that took him to the hospital. Not a heart attack, but a panic attack. And the theme between all of these people that have transformed in who they are today have had an event like this. And it's really important to recognize that as you go through and think about building your career and where you're at in your life. Don't let one of these events take you there. But let's keep going. Eric's wealth system focuses on a few things. It uses the 80-20 rule to multiply your productivity, implementing the battle-tested success techniques from special forces. It's designing your day around your natural peak performance times and building systems that generate results while protecting your energy. So less than 1% of companies hit the scale-up stage, and only 2% of people operate at their full potential. The connection isn't coincidental. So finally is the relationship alarm, because what's the point of health and wealth if you have no one to share it with? This alarm helps you build deeper connections with the people who matter most. It balance professional ambition with professional fulfillment, and create lasting bonds that support your growth, make time for what truly matters in life. But here's what makes the 3 alarms different. They're not just reminders, they're triggers for identity level change. Most people try to just change their actions without changing their identity. That's like trying to paddle upstream. You might make progress, but you'll exhaust yourself doing it. There's the book, the Feel Good Productivity, that Ali Abdaal has put together, where it's about feeling good and coming up with ways for you to make transformational change in a way that would work for you. But Eric calls the transformation in Eric's life was immediate and profound though, and his energy returned, his work became enjoyable again, family time became sacred ground. Nothing touches it. But something kept nagging at him. How many other successful people were one flight away from their own wake-up call? That's when he decided to start sharing his story. Not to build a following, not to create another thought leader platform, but to show people there was another way to succeed. So he launched EP Ventures with a clear mission: help ambitious CEOs scale their companies, their leadership, and themselves without sacrificing everything in the process. The CEO Accelerator followed. Then the Peak Performance Program. Each one built on a simple truth: sustainable success beats unsustainable excellence every time. So today, Eric's on a mission to help 100 million people become the best selves by 2030. Not through hustle culture mantras or burnout glorifying advice, but through proven systems that actually work. Here's what I've learned from Eric's story and what all of this means for you. First, your body keeps score. Those late nights, skipping meals, ignoring warning signs, they're adding up somewhere. The second thing is systems beat willpower. You can't hustle your way to sustainable success. You need frameworks that work even when your motivation doesn't. The third thing is true transformation starts with identity. Change who you're becoming and your actions will follow naturally. Fourth, balance isn't the enemy of excellence, actually. It's the foundation of success. So here's how you can practically apply this. 1, set your 3 alarms. Not a reminder, but as triggers for who you want to become. Audit your energy. What's draining you? What's fueling you, right? Third thing is build systems that support your growth without requiring your constant attention. Protect what matters. Your health and relationships aren't negotiable. All right, so back up on that plane. When Eric thought everything was ending, something new was actually beginning. He discovered that real success isn't about pushing until you break. It's about building systems that help you thrive. Success shouldn't cost everything. It shouldn't require choosing between achievement and life. It shouldn't be a game of sacrifice and survival. You can win at work, you can win at life. That's how you build lasting success. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the link in the description, get my weekly newsletter where I share strategies where I help you build your empire the right way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next Wednesday with another epic breakdown. Thank you.